Hello class. I'm going to try to make a video helping people with drawTeamMap, those people that are struggling with drawTeamMap. So before we get to that method in the world class, let's just do a little sanity check and make sure the other methods are sort of what you would expect. So this is my in classes. So this is my coordinates class. Pretty simple. Just has a couple private fields, x and y, default constructor, and then a 2-argument constructor. Looks like some getter setter methods and a 2-string method, right? So that is the coordinates class. Boat class looks like this. Has these 6 fields. Constructor, which takes 6 arguments, binds into the fields. Get directions, a little tricky. Should return a char, the UTF char character for the direction, right? The arrow that corresponds with the direction. Other getter setters look fine. Some questions about abstract classes and abstract methods. Well, an abstract class is basically a class that has abstract methods. In order to have abstract methods, you must be an abstract class. So this class up here does need to be designated as abstract. What does it mean to be abstract? It means that we are creating this contract where there's going to have to be a method which turns a string. It's called getID. It has no parameters. That method is going to have to be written in any class which extends boat. And there will be no such thing as just a boat object, right? Because it has methods that still need to be written, right? So the only way we're going to have boats is if we have children of the boat class, which then fulfill these contracts here to write these methods, which have been specified but haven't been written yet. Right? GDB5 is an abstract class. It has draw and update, which are 2 methods you have to write in your classes which extend GDB5. So there should be some experience with that. Here's my move method. My move method, you don't really need it for this one right here. My turn method, you don't really need it either. Take hit, set health, set location, again, a 2-string method. So these methods are here if you need to go back and look at them later. Also, there's boat runner. I don't think there's any changes to boat runner yet, but I would recommend messing around with that a little bit. In fact, maybe the first thing we'll do is we'll change the drawTeamMap view to be 1, because that's simpler than 2 or 3. And we'll just try to do the 1 view first. Okay. And let's go to world. Here's my world class. It has a. Is this supposed to be private? Is it supposed to be private or public? Are these supposed to be public or private? Private.
Look at those.
Alright. So here's our constructor. Basically, it has to check to see if width and height are both in the bounds of 4 and 10, right? Between 4 and 10 inclusive. And then we'll go ahead and initialize the boat array to the height and width. Actually, height and width. Height is going to be the number of arrays inside the array, or rows that we have. And then width is going to be the number of things in each of those arrays, and that's going to dictate how wide the map is. So that's a little confusing. Rather than saying width, height, you're actually saying height, width. So get width would be, again, if you go to one of the arrays and see how long it is, that's the width of it. If you just look at the 2D array and say how long is the 2D array, that's how many arrays are in it, that's how many ultimately rows there's going to be. That is the height of map. Okay. I got a get occupant method here. I got a isLocation occupied method. I have a isLocation valid method, a set occupant method, and get adjacent location, which you don't need yet, and drawTeamMap. All right. So this is what I kind of recommend starting out drawTeamMap with, which is a two-dimensional array. So num rows, num columns. So num rows is going to basically be the height, right? So if I say get height, that should be cool. If I say num columns, it would be the width, right? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so num rows, num columns, two-dimensional array. I populate two-dimensional array with hash marks, right? Now I want to print this out. So what we actually have to do is we're promising to return a string here. So we have to create a string that we're going to return items to. And so I'm going to say string result equals. I'm going to start out with the @ symbol because the @ symbol is up in the corner, and I think I'm actually going to give myself a little space as well. Yeah, let's see how that works out. Okay. Now I want to put the numbers up top, so I'm going to say for in I equals. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and say 1, I guess, and I'm going to say I is less than the number of columns that we're having, I plus plus, and I'm going to say result plus equals, and we'll go ahead and put I, one space, and then put I, and then another space, so you get 3 spaces each time. How about that? I like it. And it's actually going to be less than equal to num columns because, again, since I'm starting counting at 1, I'm going to go up into including the number of columns I have. We don't like it. You don't like that somehow. Plus expect. Oh yeah. Plus. What's wrong? How about that? Okay. So I mean, I could, for sanity's sake, just sort of see what that looks like if I return result. Bill world.southeast is not visible. Is that the way it's written? Aha, so my bad. These were supposed to be public. Alright, let's try to run this bow runner, see what happens. Okay, so that looks pretty reasonable as far as like what the top of my map is supposed to look like. So now let's attempt to build the rest of the road. So I'm going to go ahead and start with char, we'll call it, just char C equals, how about A? Make sure you put single quotation marks there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to iterate through. I'm going to go rows, rows.
I think that's good. That's good. No, we need, no, we took off on that.
Okay. So what I'm attempting to accomplish with this nested for loop is to go through the string array. And as I go through the string array, the first thing I want to do is I want to say, well, first of all, after I finish this, that top sort of border, I do want to put a new line character at the end of this, because that will make me go down to the next line, right? I'm going to start my new line with the letter here, the char, in that location. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take C and add I to it. And that way, I'm going to that would be to change the letters. So I'll start out with A because I is 0 in the first case, so I'm actually adding 0 to it, then it'll be B, then C, then D, etc. I think I want to put a little space there too, just give myself some good formatting. And then we are going to go in here and basically just put all the stuff that's in the string array, right? What string array? Well, the string array that we built. And then again, at the end of each one of these lines, let's put a little new line character. New line character. Okay. Alright, let's run this. That looks like okay. That looks pretty good for view 1. View 1 is definitely the easiest though, and so now we got to talk about view 2. So here's the thing. You have this boat array. And I've talked about this before, but the way the game is going to work is there's a team 1 array of team 1 boats, a team 2 array of team 2 boats. And when you call this method, you're going to be given one of those arrays, and you're supposed to draw the boats for that particular team, right? So how do you do that? Well, again, if the view is 1, you don't have to worry about it. You just leave it as it is. But if the view equals 2, or the view equals 3, then we're going to have to do something a little different, and that is we're going to have to iterate through the boat array. So for boat B in boats, what I want to do is, I mean, maybe right now I'll just put the boat, or just draw the boat in its location, I suppose. So, you know, I get confused in this, so I just always like to say row column, right? So I'm going to say row is equal to alright, so I have a location, and I'm going to say the row is actually the y value of location, the column is actually the x value of the location, right? And so I could say string r row column equals v dot, the two things you want to put together are the direction and the ID, get ID. Okay. Now, that's actually true if the view is 2. So if the view is 2, we want to do that. If the view is 3, we actually want to do health. Okay. So we'll see. Alright, let's see what happens here. Did I change the... view. Okay, so I'm going to change the view here to 2. Run it. Alright, so that's pretty exciting. At 2, 2, this is actually 2, 2 because that's 0, 0, 1, 1, and this is 2, 2, and then this is 3, 3. So I have the boats. I have the boats that we want to see. So now what I got to do is I got to use the visibility of the boats and then reveal the water around the boats. Okay, and this is by far the most complicated part of this, and I think it's kind of complicated to keep track of, you know, where you are on the map and whether or not you're, you know, going past 0 or going past number of columns sort of thing. But I think you can actually simplify this by using some of the methods that have already been written. So we do have this isLocation valid, which takes a coordinate object. isLocation occupied takes a coordinate object. Let's see if we can use these methods to help us out. Okay, and let's see. So basically what I'm going to do is, well, I have the location of the boat right here. I have the Y, I have the X. That's great. What I want to do is I want to iterate through the area around the boats. So let's say like the starting row that I'm going to start with is going to be the row that I'm currently at minus the vision of the boat. Okay. So again, if I'm at 3, 3 and I have a vision of 2, well, I want to start indexing from 1, right? The ending row is going to be the row plus the vision of the boat, right? The starting column is going to be the column minus the vision. And the ending column is going to be column plus the vision. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Okay, so let's create like a little nested for loop here, kind of like this. Except we're going to do starting row. Alright, so what about this? What about this idea? I'll just put water everywhere. Well, so if I do that, I get index -3 out of bounds for like 5. So our vision right now is 6, believe it or not. So vision is actually the last parameter in the boat class. So that's vision of 6, location 3, 3, location 2, 2. So I mean that would be, I think that first one there's -3, so I'm actually starting at -3 and all that stuff. So here's what I can do. I mean, I can either figure out, well, I don't want it to be any more than, or any less than 0 sort of thing. But I have this isLocation valid, right? And so if I create a coordinate here, I don't know what you want to call it, water location equals new coordinates. You gotta think about my x and y a little bit here. The x is going to dictate the number of columns, or excuse me, the column location. So that's actually j is dealing with the columns. I is dealing with the row. Okay, so it's actually going to go like that. Is that correct? And basically now I could say if isLocation valid, put my coordinate object in there, right? Then I could put the water there. I'll put the water there. How's that? So, good news, I have water, right? And I didn't get error messages. Bad news is what happened to my boat? What if I change the location here to 1-1? Maybe that'll be a little more revealing. Okay, so now I'm just getting, around the boat sort of visibility. I can also see a little problem with this here, but the problem now is that I'm drawing the boats originally, right? But I'm going back around this sort of square area and then drawing water over the boats. So how can I avoid that? Well, let's come back to boat runner. Let's make it 6-6, right? Let's check to see if the location's occupied before we draw the string. So it's like if is location occupied, and that takes a coordinate parameter, which is going to be our water location that we're kind of checking here. If the location is occupied, I want to do something, right? Else, I want to do that. Okay. So what do I want to do if the location is occupied? Well, I actually want to put the boat that's currently there. I want to put the boat that's there, or I want to show the boat that's there. So I want to say string R index ij is equal to the boat which is there, which is the boat which is in map ij, right? And it's going to be get direction. We're going to do direction plus map ij. Go. Ron, are you done with part A? Not yet? There's only one method that's really a big method, and that's drawTeamMap. You haven't done that? Yeah, that is like part A. Like that's 90% of part A. So I don't know. All right, let's just try this. Let's try this now. Let's see what happens there. Let's see what happens. So interesting, I'm getting this boat over here. Where's that boat coming from? I had two boats in the boat array, and they're actually at C3 and B4. They're not showing up, but this boat is over here. Now the reason for that really has to do with the fact that the boats in the boat array are not on the map. They're not on the world map right now. So what I would suggest doing is putting them on the map. So as soon as you get one of these boats up here, boat boats, what we're going to do is set the occupant on the map to be the boat, and the boat in its location, whatever location it is. So that is actually a big method. Run this, and now we see all the boats. That's what you really want to see there too. Now when you come down to boat runner, world, I think there's one thing we forgot, and that is I just went straight to direction here. But it really is one of these things where it's like if the view is 2, right, then we want that. Otherwise, if the view is 3, we want the health.
bottom of ours.
Guys, what are you guys doing? Have you guys finished? What are you guys doing? Would be my question. What? So again, to sort of test how things are going here, we could change the view to 3, see what that looks like. Okay, now I see the health. We could then maybe change location the best. Let's make this maybe a bigger world, like 810 or something. Change location, maybe like 4.2, maybe like 7.3. Maybe change the visibility to 2 in both these cases. Try to run that. Looks pretty good, pretty good. Go back to view equals 2. Notice that the third boat doesn't appear anymore, right? Because that boat was revealed by the visibility of the other boats, right? But the visibility doesn't extend to that area, so we're no longer going to see that. But that looks pretty good. I think you can just move these boats around and change some stuff and see if it sort of behaves as you expect. But looks pretty good to me, and I think that would do it. That would do it. So does it still work if the view is 1? Does it still work if the view is 1? And I'm gonna, there's, I think it does. Because all the other stuff we did, right, was only if the view equals 2 or if the view equals 3. So if the view equals 1, we don't really have a clause for that. It's just that the other stuff only happens if the view is 2 or 3. Therefore, it sort of defaults to this if the view is only 1. So anyways, that looks good. Let me know if you have any questions. I think that's by far the hardest method to sort of come up with. You have to figure out how to deal with the visibility. You know, all your sub-methods kind of have to work as expected. But anyways, yeah, let me know if you have any further questions.